Godzilla memes on Instagram, also known as Prehistoric Petting Zoo, is the best meme service ever. It's the only one I would trust my kids with. There is no contracts, and all you have to do is enter a submission on their Instagram. Unlike other Instagram pages, they don't use bots, so they wouldn't comment anything awkward on a deceased actor or actress from a Toho film. If you enter a submission and say Daikaiju SpaceZilla sent you, you can win a chance to change their profile pic for a whole month. Hello everyone, this is Daikaiju SpaceZilla approaching, and today we're going to take a look at a more obscure addition to the kaiju genre, Kraa the Sea Monster. Back in 1996 was the year after Godzilla's Versus series ended with Godzilla vs. Destroya, and the beginning of Shosuke Kinoko's Gamera trilogy, and the Rebirth of Mothra trilogy, and the return of the Ultra series with Ultraman Tiga. So Charles Band decided to throw his hat in the Daikaiju ring with his company Full Moon under the label of Monster Island Entertainment with Zarkor the Invader. It was poorly received with both critics and audience members alike, but that didn't stop Full Moon from attempting another movie as Monster Island Entertainment, as in 1998, America's first attempt of a Godzilla movie was coming, so Monster Island Entertainment wanted to cash in on it with their new kaiju movie, Kraa the Sea Monster. Like Zarkor, Kraa was very poorly received, and it fell into obscurity to the point only hardcore fans of Kaiju-eiga really know of its existence. However, that didn't stop them from making a sequel called Planet Patrol, and from what I've heard, it's even worse than the first one. Well, I'll be damned, that must be fucking garbage. The film opens with the evil Lord Doom dispatching a giant monster mercenary Kraa to conquer the Earth. A station belonging to the Planet Patrol, an intergalactic peacekeeping organization, detects his arrival. Curtis, a new recruit, uses her psychic abilities to pinpoint Doom's location, the dying planet Proyas. Before they can intercept Kraa, Doom targets the station with a pulse cannon, leaving it in critical condition. In their place, they dispatched their only agent in the area, the tiny alien Magyar, who was supposed to land in Italy where a research project at the Atomic Fusion Research Institute contains the key to a weapon which will allow him to destroy Kraa. He crashes through the roof of a restaurant in New Jersey, where he meets a waitress Alma and a well-learned biker Bobby, and together they need to stop Kraa and Lord Doom. Where do I even start on this absolute embarrassment to Daikaiju-eiga? There's so much wrong with this movie, it's crazy. The pacing is way too fast and leaves little time to develop its plot, as it awkwardly throws you in a story that feels like a sequel without the first goddamn movie. We're given little to no history about the Planet Patrol and how it started, and all we're given is their past war with Lord Doom about them having past problems, but creating a peace treaty, but very little of it is explained besides brief mentions for Doom's motive of taking Earth and revenge on the Planet Patrol. The exposition wouldn't be a problem if they didn't force feed you its plot and actually took its time to flesh things out, but they didn't. And also, the people are so fucking stupid in this movie. Are they even worth protecting? There's people just sitting in their freaking cars, not even driving them, honking their horns, literally doing jack fucking shit when a giant fucking alien fish kaiju is destroying the goddamn city. Did they think they'd make him run away? Dumbasses. Also, Kraa is supposed to be a mercenary, but you only know that from a quick mention from Magyar, but they do absolutely nothing to make you feel like he's anything but a giant monster. I mean, I don't mind him just being a giant monster causing destruction, but if you're gonna make him just a giant monster, just make him a kaiju that Lord Doom sends down to fuck things up like the aliens in the Godzilla franchise do with Ghidorah and other kaiju. Don't add anything else if you're not gonna do anything with it. You know what? I need some time to let my fucking mind process how horribly they fucked this movie up. So, take it away, MrRantingRandy.
This film was quite the experience. If I could sum up this film in a single sentence, I would say that it has all the qualities one might expect from a made-for-TV kids Saturday morning special. This film somehow feels like it is a continuation of or a conclusion to a cheesy kids show or series, and in some ways there's something a little nostalgic about it. With that said, the film is not very good. Almost everything about the way the plot moves and the character interactions, they all feel contrived. The writing makes the film feel like they were working off a first draft. For example, the Planet Patrol send an agent to Earth to stop Kraa, but the US government has agents who are constantly after him. Here are the big questions I kept asking myself throughout the runtime of this film. If the Planet Patrol are the law enforcement of the galaxy or something, shouldn't they be able to coordinate with all the planets under their jurisdiction to help fend off anybody who tries to violate the sovereignty of the other planets? Shouldn't the US government be aware of the Planet Patrol, or do they not know about them? And if that's the case, which other planets do humans come from if the people from the Planet Patrol aren't from Earth? Shouldn't Earth be aware of aliens like Kraa and the Italian alien, since Lord Doom has attempted something like this before? Why haven't the Planet Patrol tried to help Lord Doom find a warmer planet, since his motivation is to take over Earth so that he can live on a planet that isn't dying, since that's his motivation in this film? It's alluded that there are a number of Planet Patrol ships in the beginning, so why is it just up to one single crew and one single ship? Kraa was sent to Earth to destroy the civilization on it, but the government agency notices that Kraa is only going wherever the Italian alien goes, so what's his goal exactly? I might sound like I'm nitpicking here, but so many of the conflicts in this film are so unnecessary and make little sense, and I was constantly being taken out of it because of that.
The acting and characters are pretty horrible. Let's start with the villain of the movie, Lord Doom, played by Michael Kraa and Jerry Lins. This guy should be awesome. He really should, but he's not. You can tell he's supposed to be over the top by how he's written, but Jerry Lins, though, gives a voice where you can tell he's trying to ham it up, but fails as his heart doesn't feel into it one bit. That aside, they don't really do anything with him. All we really know about him is he used to go at war with the Planet Patrol, but eventually signed a peace treaty. But his planet is now dying, so he wants to wipe out human civilization so he himself can take Earth. And all that is just exposition. I'm fine with exposition when it's done right, but you need the proper writing for it. You can't just drop breadcrumbs of backstory and shove it down our throats. That isn't interesting, that is lazy, and feels like it's only there for the sake of a premise. He doesn't even have a real interaction with the Planet Patrol besides the last act of the movie, so it doesn't feel like there's any tension between them besides the little breadcrumbs of exposition you've been force-fed. Chamberlain, played by John Cimenton, is just your typical bitch who does whatever the lead villain says and nothing more. His acting is pure cringe too, as John's trying way too hard to feel like a minion.
You need only give the word and it'll be done.
The word is given. Take this planet for us.
There is one faction that might pose a problem to us. The Planet Patrol.
Ready the inner space barrage. Even if they are not destroyed outright, they will be unable to interfere with our conquest of Earth.
As you command, my lord.
Let nothing stop us in our quest for warmth.
As for the Planet Patrol, its members consist of Curtis, played by Allison Lohman, Gareth, played by Anthony Furlong, and Captain Rurik, played by Colton Scott, and Lieutenant Abel, played by Kennedy Tolentino. These characters are about as bland as they can come. There's no bond between them at all, besides them having some faith in Curtis when she was struggling to use her psychic abilities when they needed her. And we know nothing about their outside lives. Each and every one of them is one-dimensional with no actual personality to speak of. And since they didn't believe Curtis was a psychic at first, wouldn't it have been nice to take some time with that skepticism? Like, use proper pacing and character development to have her slowly earn their trust? Here, it's only barely established they don't believe her, and it's just a little bit later she proves to them she is psychic, and there's literally no reaction to it at all. They automatically believe her vision of Lord Doom sending Kraa down, and it's treated like they never doubted her from the beginning. Only thing I can give Curtis is at least her telepathic powers serve a purpose to the movie, as they're used to predict Lord Doom's and Kraa's attack, and she helps take Kraa down, but other than that, she's just as bland as everyone else. Also, she's just a half-baked version of Miki Saigusa from the Godzilla vs. series. Think about it. Both are female characters in kaiju films that have telepathic powers and uses them to help a team stop a monster. Only difference is she lacks the character's depth and great performance from Megumi Odaka. Yeah, you can argue she doesn't sympathize with Kraa like Miki later did with Godzilla, but you gotta remember, Miki didn't start feeling sympathy for Godzilla till Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. Yeah, this could very much be a coincidence, but considering how much of a cash grab this trash is, I wouldn't be surprised if Charles Band decided to rip off the Godzilla vs. series on the way. He already ripped off the Shobijin and Zarkor the Invader, so I wouldn't be surprised.
I want to take this opportunity to introduce you to the other members of our team. Lieutenant Abel, our engineer.
Hey, kid.
Patrolman Garth.
What's up?
This is a remote outpost, Curtis, and things are usually pretty quiet around here. But that doesn't mean we take our responsibilities for granted.
No, sir.
According to your file, you're designated as a double P specialist?
Yes, sir.
Curtis, what is a double P specialist?
Psychic power, sir.
Psychic powers.
Yes, sir. Telepathy, telekinesis, quantum manipulation, mind control.
And you can do all that.
And to be honest, everyone here lacks any charisma or care in their performances at all. It's more than apparent the entire cast just wanted to get this movie over with so they could earn their paychecks. To be fair, this was Alison Lohman's first role. These days she's actually gotten good, as she'd later play Christine Brown in Sam Raimi's Drag Me to Hell, though to be fair, that's the only work from her I've seen besides this. But that's no excuse for acting terribly in this movie. Jeff Rector does alright as the team leader, as he takes his role as a government agent serious enough, but you know nothing about his character other than he's trying to get Mogiar because he believes he's involved with Kraa due to both being aliens, because his job demands it. Hell, you don't even know his name. That's how underdeveloped he is as a character.
For whatever reason, two beings from another planet have arrived here. One of them is clearly hostile. The other one you have information about. It won't talk to us, although I am told it did speak in an Italian accent last night when it was apprehended in your home.
You say apprehended.
He's no criminal.
Look, I am not here to debate this with you. Your cooperation is necessary. Now, if you feel that your rights have been trampled on, you're just going to have to accept my apologies.
All we really know about Bobby Masick, played by R.L. McMurray, is he's a biker who had a couple years in med school. But that's all we really get from his backstory, and even that's just used in brief exposition. He's got more personality than anyone on the team, as he's been used for comedic antics but also can be serious and had some okay-ish comedic scenes with Alma, but this is literally me trying to find something interesting about him. But the problem here is, like everyone else, you know next to nothing about him, and what's learned is just very small doses of exposition that's never brought up again, and the performance is just straight up dull. Alma James, played by Teal Marchand, works at a cafe, and she's got a very sassy personality. But other than that, what do we really know about her? Absolutely nothing. And again, Teal doesn't seem into it. Mogyar, played by J.W. Kraa, at least has some personality to him, but that's not saying much as he's still pretty bland. Only thing we know about him is he's an alien who's royalty, but like most things in this movie, it's not dived into other than a quick mention. J.W. Kuraa's performance is somewhat fine, as there's some charisma in there, but his Italian accent is forced, and more than apparent he's not from Italy. His special effects are okay, as there's some decent detail in there, but the facial expressions move more like a hand and a puppet than a living creature.
It's a pretty long story. I guess you want to hear it, huh?
So, do you have a name?
Of course I have a name. How else would the people know what to call me? Mogyar.
Well, I'm Bobby Maycheck, and this is,
Alma James, pleasure.
Pleased to meet you. So, listen up. I'm what you might call an interstellar policeman. I'm here to apprehend an alien life form, a very dangerous being known as a Kraa.
The acting is remarkably all over the place. The performances consist of near monotone delivery accompanied with arm acting. Some of the acting is extremely hammy, especially in Lord Doom's case. Some of the performances are the kind of acting you would expect from a B-movie film, and some of it is with an Italian accent that sounds more like Super Mario than Mario did in the Super Mario Bros. Movie. In my opinion, the acting is the most intriguing part of this film and is what makes it feel the most like a made-for-TV kids special.
Most of the special effects here is literally how Godzilla films are stereotyped to look like. The buildings look like they're made out of goddamn paper with their insane lack of detail and look far too sensitive to be anything convincing. The vehicles look like model toys as they are too smooth and look more like cheap plastic. Not to mention the laughably cartoonish solar system that has PlayStation 1 quality frame rate and pixelization. I know it's 1998, and even high-budget blockbusters didn't have this kind of technology or experience for perfected digital effects until the mid-2000s. But the problem here is they didn't need to use CGI. They could have used practical effects. It's not that hard. But to be fair, it probably still would have looked bad considering how the effects of this movie are average at their best. Kraa himself is fine. His design is a semi-vicious looking sea monster that, though isn't anything special, does look somewhat cool with an okay roar. His effects could be better, but they're not bad, just middle of the road. The details on him look good, as he's got some well done scales and gills, and the suit actor is able to move well enough. But the animatronic in the head is pretty stiff, and you can tell it's a robot and not a living creature, and his teeth look quite rubbery, to be honest. The action scenes are just lackluster and often don't even feature explosions. And when they do, the flames look like they belong in a fucking asylum movie. And the fire goes out so quick, it's actually pretty comedic. The flame from all that mayhem shouldn't be going out instantly. It should be a field of fucking flames out there, goddammit.
This is very obviously a low-budget film, and because of that, the special effects really show it. The miniatures look like something out of one of the early seasons of Thomas the Tank Engine, and the Kraa suit looks like it would have been something impressive in the 1970s. The worst part of the effects is when Kraa is tearing through high-rise buildings, as it is very clear that the buildings are made out of some kind of paper or cardboard or cardstock material, as when Kraa initially breaks through the building with the Godzilla 98 logo on it, it looks more like a football player running through the paper sign with their team name on it. It has not held up very well. The fake high-rise buildings mixed with the little toy cars and the model power lines just look incredibly cheap now. Kraa is supposed to be the main attraction to this film and the ultimate menace, but he's more like a backdrop to the US government, guys. The climax of the film just consists of him standing around and staring at the weapon that will kill him, while our heroes fight the government guys and eventually, after killing Kraa, get into a cheesy anticlimactic fight with Lord Doom. There is very little tension through this film because of that, and it just seems to be very half-hearted in its attempt to heighten any tension whatsoever.
The track that plays during Kraa's destruction scenes is bland, generic, and lacks the excitement a destruction scene should. And it makes you listen to this over and over and over and over again. If you're gonna spam one track, you better make sure it's fucking good. And not this boring garbage. Other times, on the scenes where it's not kaiju related, it'll play an unnecessarily lighthearted track that would feel far more at home on a comedic scene full of silly antics rather than a serious one. And when it's not lighthearted, it's just simply boring and adds little to nothing to what's going on in the movie at all.
Something?
Like what?
Sort of a high-pitched harmonic?
Uh-uh.
Oh, no. I have very good ears. There's something there. Wasn't there a few seconds ago.
Look, man, I don't hear no...
Now you hear it.
What is that?
It's bad music!
The cinematography in this film is strange. One of the things that didn't make very much sense to me was whenever the Italian alien would talk, there was only ever one flat close-up of his face. We have very little idea of what he's supposed to look like, save for the shots of him that we see while other people are talking, yet somehow it's still ambiguous. Also, there are some scenes where the camera makes some very strange moves, like during one scene on the Planet Patrol ship, the camera twists from a sideways view to a right side up one to show all the other characters, show them in frame. It's a creative shot, but I have no idea why that was done, and it left me more confused than anything else.
At the end of the day, Kraa the Sea Monster is an absolute disaster that I can only recommend to people who love bad movies and kaiju fans that want to see every kaiju film in existence, or those who are only interested in it due to its obscurity just to say you watched it. But honestly, it's one of the worst movies the kaiju genre has to offer, as it has very little going for it. The special effects, besides a few average ones, look like trash, the acting is underwhelming, and the characters are just living cardboard cutouts full of bland action scenes, dull comedy, and an absolute mess of a script, making this movie a bad watch. So with that being said, I'm gonna award Kraa the Sea Monster a horrendous 3 out of 10 stars.
Kraa the Sea Monster isn't really that good. I wouldn't even say it's so bad it's good. It's just a forgettable kind of not good. As I said twice before, it's like a made-for-TV kids special, which exists to serve as a conclusion for a season of a Saturday morning kids series or something. It's not offensive, but if you like monster movies, like big monster movies, like giant monsters, you probably won't get much out of this one unless you're looking for something new and you've reached the bottom of the barrel as it is. It's not particularly good, but you can certainly do worse.
That was it for this episode, and I'd like to give a very special thank you to MrRantingRandy for joining me today, and I'd strongly recommend checking out his channel as he's got a lot of cool content there. Anyway, please comment your thoughts down below, and if you like this video, please hit that like button, share it around, and please subscribe. And maybe even follow me on social media where I keep you up to date on upcoming projects and I post more awesome content. This is Daikaiju SpaceZilla, leaving the building.